Ash,
Taryne.
do you know what blood type you are?
I don't.
I don't either.
I was told, and what's funny is I think I've been told twice because I've asked. Cannot for the life of me remember.
What do we like in an emergency situation? I would have if they're like, you're bleeding out, we need to know your blood type right now. I'd be screwed.
I'm pretty sure I'm an A positive, but it's a 95% sure.
You would say that. You want to be an A plus. It's the best.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's also the most like common one. And I remember thinking that because the O's are the ones that are like rare.
Well, because I was looking up fun facts and then AB negative is the rarest blood type. But I literally have no idea.
I'm pretty sure most people, like it's very common to be like A positive or something like that.
I wonder if it says it like in my, that like doctor app. Do you have one of those?
I do have a doctor app.
I wonder if it like says it somewhere.
I'm pretty sure it's one of those things that you have to like ask. It's not something you're necessarily told right away, except for when you're born. And my mom can't remember.
Crazy.
I was like, you're supposed to write these things down.
Everyone go check your blood type because we need to know these things.
Yeah, but also if you don't have a rare one, it's kind of like you're fine.
Is it though?
Yeah, because the hospital has plenty of the regular stuff for the regular
Yeah, but they still have to know what's put in you.
But they can test that.
What if you're...
They just stick it in you and then test it and then they find out.
So basically, if you're a human being and have lived on this earth, you've all had that feeling where you're sitting there refreshing that bank account, waiting for that payday. Mm-hmm. So why would you sleep on something that could help you get the money that you earn in your hands today with Earnin?
Earnin is an app that gives you access to your pay as you work, up to $100 per day or up to $750 per pay period. Just download the Earnin app and verify your paycheck. Then access up to $100 a day as you work and leave an optional tip. Any money you access plus tips are automatically repaid from your next paycheck. So make Earnin a part of your financial routine and join Earnin's over 3.5 million customers who say things like, when I think about Earnin, I think about financial stability and security. It gives me a lot of peace of mind.
Download Earnin today, spelled EARNIN, in the Google Play or Apple App Store. When you download the Earnin app, type in Unsolicited Advice under podcast when you sign up. It'll really help our show. Unsolicited Advice under podcast. Earnin is a financial technology company, not a bank. Subject to your available earnings, daily max, pay period max, and location. See earnin.com/TOS for details. Bank products are issued by Evolve Bank and Trust member FDIC.
Today's episode is brought to you by OneSkin. There's absolutely nothing like the feeling of being confident in your own skin. That is why I have to tell you about today's sponsor, OneSkin. Their products make it easy to keep your skin healthy while looking and feeling your absolute best. No complicated routines, no multi-step protocols, just simple, scientifically validated solutions. The secret is OneSkin's proprietary OS01 peptide. It's the first ingredient proven to switch off the aging cells that cause lines, wrinkles, and thinning skin. And they've got several studies to back it up. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company by focusing on the cellular aspects of aging. OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. So get started today with 15% off using code ADVICE, ADVICE, at oneskin.co. That's 15% off at oneskin.co with code ADVICE. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. So please do me a huge favor and support this show and tell them that we sent you.
Are you guys a fan of the show? If you are, we have a VIP subscription that you can sign up to get much more of your girls here.
Become a premium subscriber and get access to exclusive episodes, ad-free listening, discounts on merch, and so much more. Plus, it's only $5 a month, which is way cheaper than your everyday latte.
To sign up, just go ahead and go to the show notes and you can click the link.
Also, if you have any stories that you would like us to read on our podcast, this is your moment to shine. Send your emails at, what's the email called, Taryne?
Advice unsolicitedpod@gmail.com. It can be funny. It can be sad. It can be deep. It can be light. It can be your story. It could be a friend's. It could be short. It could be long. All shapes and sizes are welcome. So send it in today. you think we have the same blood type? I don't think we do.
Odds are, yeah.
I don't think we do.
Statistically, I think, yeah.
I feel like our blood is different.
I feel like we're very different. I feel like we're similar because we're still soul sisters, you know?
True.
So
I wonder if there's ever been a study done of like personality type versus like your blood type.
Oh,
that would be fascinating.
We just take our Enneagram personality types to the next level.
Blood type.
You're like, I'm an Enneagram 9, wing 1, a positive.
We might be onto something.
Maybe that's the next level.
We can be the new Enneagram creators. We could get rich and it'll say like blood brothers or blood sisters.
Yeah.
And then it's like your blood type versus whatever.
Yeah.
And then we could just get rich.
I wonder if even like astrological signs would be like kicked up a notch.
So many
depending
levels.
on your blood type.
Yes.
You know.
Isn't there like a blood moon?
That's a period thing. Like if you have your period on a full moon or a blood moon, they say you're a witch. Which I believe. And I have had happen to me multiple times, so that tracks.
You've had what? You've become a witch?
Started my period on a full moon.
So you are a witch?
I am. It's true.
In the name of Jesus.
Watch your back. Room. Don't come for us. Anyone who comes for us, I will curse you.
This is why I stay on her good side.
She has no choice being my friend or being on this podcast.
Yeah. You know those things
I was
where
like, you will.
Ew, Ashley. It's terrifying.
Sorry, I just finished Dune. Reading the book Dune.
Oh, so you're in that.
And you know how that voice
yeah.
funny.
Also, like, you know those I feel like I saw them a lot on like the Britney Spears posts and all the conspiracies with that, where they'd be like, wear yellow in your next video if you need help. People start doing that for me. They're like, Taryne, put your hair behind your ear in the next video.
At the 10-second mark.
Help me.
Here we go. Guys, welcome back to Unsolicited Advice. I am Ashley.
I'm Taryne.
And we are here to advise you on all things that you could quite possibly need advice on in life. It could be work-related, friends-related, relationship-related, could be funny, could be serious. We take it all.
We do take it all.
If you have one of those situations that you need advice on and you're currently thinking of something that you're like, ooh, I could do that, this is your sign.
Or just right now in your car, close your eyes. Actually, don't close your eyes because you're driving. Just think about what's the juiciest story you've ever heard. Send it in. We want to hear about it. We want to comment.
It doesn't have to be yours.
Yeah,
it could be anyone's.
You know what's funny is like me and Ash will be talking, like we'll just be hanging out, and it's something that Ashley says a lot, but she'll be like, "Well, if I had to unsolicited advice you," and like she'll tell me like her advice about like my own life, or like if I'm telling her a story about someone I knew, she'll be like, well, if I was like unsolicited advising them, and it's like become a term. Which
it has become a term. Well, especially with you, because it's not even just with you. It's with all my friends. If anyone is like not necessarily asking me for advice, but I have advice, I'll be like, well,
my unsolicited advice.
If I were to unsolicited advice you, here's what I would do.
It's going to catch on. It's going to be a thing.
It is. It's going to be a slogan.
A thing. Also, just want to throw in the plug that you guys should totally subscribe to our Supercast if you aren't already. It's like $5 a month. And we're really trying to just like step up our game and make it worth that for you guys. So we have lots of fun, exciting stuff coming up there. And you can click the link in the show notes if you're interested.
Monthly bonus content, monthly scary stories, monthly AMAs, all the things. Solo episodes. Yeah. It's worth every penny.
You're such a cheeseball.
Is it not worth every penny?
It is, Ash.
Well, then how am I being a cheeseball?
Because you just started.
No, cute. I'm just telling the people the facts.
Look how you're sitting.
This is how I said. You know what's so funny? I specifically remember I started working at a new hotel. I had worked at an old hotel previously, and then I got hired at another hotel, and it was all the way in Corona, and it was my first day, and I was shadowing this woman, and one of the like first non-work things she said to me was, I was so cute. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, I mean, just like, look at how you're standing. And I had like my hands.
Yeah.
I had my hands like, I had like my legs crossed and my hands kind of like sitting like
folded. Yeah.
Folded and like kind of like I hate to say it like this, but in like a prim and proper kind of stance.
Yeah.
And she was like, who stands like that? And I was like, me?
See, you get so mad at me when I make those comments, but I mean it in like the cutest way.
No, totally. And I'm very aware that that's just
it's just who you are.
I think I'm an old soul at my core sometimes.
You are, but when I say that, you get so mad, and you need to own it because it's like it's funny, it's endearing.
Tone, Taryne. It's the tone that you say it in, and I'm like, no, Taryne,
run it back, because I was like, you're so cheesy. It's always like a very endearing tone. It's not like I'm like, oh,
let's ask the people. Let's ask the people. Go to the comments.
Shut your mouth.
Go to the comments.
Wait. Let's move on.com. I have a hotel question for you.
Okay.
Because every time I interact with the front desk people, I always think about you.
Yeah.
And
be nice to them.
Oh, I'm always nice. But this one girl, she triggered me a little bit. And I'm curious how you would have handled.
Ooh, let's go.
Okay. So I'll talk about this a little bit in a minute. But my brother got married finally. Yay! And it was very stressful just being like very involved in like the wedding, obviously. But I was calling to get an early check-in. And I called and the girl answered and she said, "Hi, can I place you on hold?" And I was like, okay. To me, I feel like hold is like 2 minutes max, right? Like it's like, oh, I'm answering another call or something. I place you on hold. If it's more than that, I feel like it's warranted to be like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I'm with someone," or it might take me a minute, but I'll get to you as soon as I can. Something, right? Because when I hear "I'll place you on hold," if it's been over 10 minutes, like I'm frustrated by that point.
There should be a disclaimer. I agree.
So I'm not joking. Like 10 minutes goes by. I'm so annoyed. I'm like, okay, she forgot I existed. So I hung up and I called back and she answered and said, "Hi, can I put you on hold again?" And so I said, and not rude, but I was just like, actually, like I've been on hold for like a long time. Do you know how long I'll be on hold, or should I call back at a better time? So I was like, here's a few options. I'm just trying to, like, I just can't be on hold without knowing, because then I get annoyed.
Which is nice of you. You're kind of doing the work for her.
Like, thank you. I thought so. She literally goes on this spiel, and she wasn't being rude, but I don't like when I feel like people are talking to me in a way of like, let me educate you kind of thing, because that like bothers me. But she was like, "Well, I'm sorry, ma'am, but there's a customer, and the customers that are here take priority over like the phone calls, blah, blah, blah." Which I'm like, okay, I know that that's probably true, but I also like, you don't tell someone like, "Hey, I'm sorry, but you're not my priority right now." You know what I mean? Like, I felt like she said it in a weird way. And so then I was like biting my tongue, because I was like, I'm trying to get her early check-in, but whatever. And I was like, okay, no problem. And I just was like quiet, but I was so bothered by like the way she said it. And then she answered and she was super nice. She was like, "I'm sorry, like it's only me up here." And I'm like, I wish you would have led with that. Like, I wish you would have been like, "I'm so sorry, you've been on hold. Like, it's currently only me and I'm helping a customer, but I'll get to you like right away." You know, like something where like I don't feel like crazy.
Yeah.
But so it ended fine. But I was just like, I don't feel like that was like the approach. So
I don't think that's the approach either.
Professional.
I don't think that's the approach either. I think a guest is a guest over the phone or in person. I think the unspoken rule is, yes, the person in front of you should be dealt with first, phones are second. But I think it's fine to be like, "I'm so sorry, I'm a little swamped right now. It might be a bit of a wait. Feel free to call back, or hold on, I'll get to you when I can."
Love.
You know?
I would have been like, "Thank you so much."
But I would never say like, the people in front of me take priority over you.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because then I feel like that would give them a reason to complain, and then my manager would have to give them a discount, and then I'd get a talking to. But then at the same time,
ooh, I didn't know I could have got a discount.
Well, if they were like, if she called and was like, "Oh, the front desk said that I wasn't her priority."
Oh, yeah. I could see
that. And even
that.
if I was like, "That's not what I said," that's how she took it. And then in order to make her happy,
the customer,
that's what would have happened. Yep. But I can't tell you how many times I worked at the desk alone and had no one helping me, and I would be in those shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that whole, the customer is always right, is something. And this is why I think, no joke, I think every person should have to work some form of like food service,
100%.
Hospitality, something, because it puts
humbles
you in your place.
Yeah.
And it forces you to be in situations where I know that I'm right, but I still have to be respectful.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of like the spoiled brattery that I see going around, I'm like, your parents never spanked you and you never worked in like hospitality.
Yeah, you never had an angry customer yelling at you.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get into like spanking. It's a joke. Okay, calm down. Everyone calm down. But I remember there was this one I was doing to go, which by the way, always tip your to go people because it is so much work and then you never get tipped. It's so frustrating. But I was doing to go's at Red Robin, like one of my first jobs. And this guy called in, and I remember specifically being very careful with his order because I could tell by his tone he was going to be difficult. And he kept going back and forth he was like, I usually get like chicken wings or something, but I want to try the chili cheese fries. Like, what do you think? He's like, I don't like trying new things. Like, what do you think? All this stuff. And I was like, I think they're really good, but like totally up to you. Like, it's up to you if you're feeling brave, like whatever. And then he ordered like all this like ridiculous, like specific amount of sides and blah, blah, blah. So anyways, I packed everything myself. I even got chili on my hand when I was like packaging it. And I remembered that specifically. And I even said to him, like, good luck. I hope you like it. And he left, came back 10 minutes later with such an attitude and said that the chili cheese fries weren't in his order. And he was so mad and he was complaining about me, said I was rude. And then he was like, you know what? Forget it. I don't even want them anymore. I just want the chicken wings. So I knew exactly what he was doing. Like he didn't like them and he was trying to come back and get something free instead. But instead of just making up an excuse and not making it personal, he attacked me and was like very aggressively yelling at me. So then my manager comes over and in front of him makes me basically like go fix the problem. But I was sitting there going like, sir, I know, like I literally physically remember putting those in your bag. And my manager just finally pulls me to the side and he was like, it doesn't matter. Like you have to just give it to him and then we'll be done with this. And I was fuming because he came at me so personally, but I had to like literally deliver it to him with a smile. And the way he smirked at me before he walked out, I wanted to throw bows. I was like, I want to fight you. Like I was so mad. But it's a really hard position to be put in where you have to deal with these like spoiled, brewed people, but like maintain your composure and have a smile on your face. And I think it's a people skill.
It is a people skill. And if it's a skill that can be developed when you've worked there for a long time. And that's what I mean when you say, that's what we mean when we say everyone should work a job like that growing up, because it really does like teach you about people, teach you how to like keep your cool. Like
not
that
be
was
easily
kind of
triggered.
like, that was kind of like our motto at the desk. Like people would yell at us for something I didn't do. And I would just have to keep my cool. That's what my manager would always say. And just be like,
and be able to like recover and move forward and like worry about just yourself. In which I don't think people don't do that now. They're offended by everything. They're in everybody's business. Like they can't de-escalate on their own. So I'm like, you need to like stop what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. And go freaking get a job at Del Taco for a few months and like learn how to be professional even when you don't want to. So basically, if you're a human being and have lived on this earth, you've all had that feeling where you're sitting there refreshing that bank account, waiting for that payday, first and the 15th or whatever it is. And we all know how frustrating that can be. So why would you sleep on something that could help you get the money that you earn in your hands today with Earnin?
Earnin is an app that gives you access to your pay as you work, up to $100 per day or up to $750 per pay period. Just download the Earnin app and verify your paycheck. Then access up to $100 a day as you work and leave an optional tip. Any money you access plus tips are automatically repaid from your next paycheck. Access to these funds are so monumental and game-changing when it comes to things like an unexpected trip to the vet that happens to me all the time, or upcoming rent that maybe you're not ready for, maybe even a special night out if you have a little extra. So make Earnin a part of your financial routine and join Earnin's over 3.5 million customers who say things like, When I think about Earnin, I think about financial stability and security. It gives me a lot of peace of mind.
Download Earnin today, spelled EARNIN, in the Google Play or Apple App Store. When you download the Earnin app, type in Unsolicited Advice under podcast when you sign up. It'll really help our show. Unsolicited Advice under podcast. Earnin is a financial technology company, not a bank. Subject to your available earnings, daily max, pay period max, and location. See earnin.com/TOS for details. Bank products are issued by Evolve Bank and Trust member FDIC.
What's the craziest thing that ever happened to you working one of those jobs? I feel like this is always a fun question.
Yeah. I feel like, honestly, I could tell billions of stories because I was a waitress for quite a few years. But the two that always come to mind is one of them I had this like terrible, it was like this man and he was just like super rude. And I was across the restaurant like taking someone else's order, and then like slowly the whole restaurant gets quiet and I just hear this like rattling noise. And I couldn't see him because he was in a booth, but his hand is up in the air and he's just shaking an empty glass of ice.
No.
And the whole restaurant gets quiet.
Dear
and all
God.
all my coworkers were like looking at me. And so I had to like literally silently walk over, and everyone's looking, and everyone
Right.
looked like appalled because it was
Right.
like rude behavior.
Well, it's degrading the way
it was
he's
a
doing
rude
it.
behavior.
Yeah.
So I just slowly walked over and I was like, "Hi, do you need something?"
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, all right." And he's like yelling, like, "Yeah, refill," and like raising his voice.
Nope.
And I just like got it, and I like walked over, and luckily my manager saw. And so he walked over and kind of gave him the, "Hey, is everything okay? But like, you need to be respectful," kind of talk. So there was that one. And then also a lady was with this guy, and it was definitely like a weird sugar daddy situation. It was like something weird, like not to judge a book by the cover, but if I had to judge a book by the cover,
Yeah.
that's what I would guess. And we would get in so much trouble if we didn't alert a customer of an extra charge. So she ordered some kind of pancakes because I worked at like a breakfast restaurant for a while. And she asked for like a specific type of topping. And so I was like, "Okay, just so you know, it's like 50 cents extra. Is that okay?" And she turned and screamed in my face. And she was like, "Do I look like I can't afford 50 cents? Like she was so offended that I asked her. And
You're
I
like,
was like,
protocol says I have to let you know. Relax.
I was trying to be I was like, "No, of course not." I was like, "But I'm going to tell you what I look like. Someone who's tired of getting yelled at by her boss." And she would not stop going off on me. And so I finally just was like, I looked at the guy like, "Are you going to like say anything?" Because she was literally telling me off. And he just kind of like looked at me like, "I'm so sorry, but I'm scared of her too." And then I was just like, "Okay, well, I'm going to walk away." But yeah, those were. What about you, Ash?
I have tons. I don't even know which one to say. We could do a whole episode on all of my hotel stories.
Dang, we should.
There was a guy that got shot in our parking lot of our hotel because of a drug deal gone bad. And it was late in my shift. Luckily, my manager happened to have stopped by. He came back that night at like
Thank
8
God.
p.m. He came back and he was talking to like, we were an extended stay hotel. So a lot of like corporate companies would send their like employees to stay over there whenever they were in town for business. So a lot of like long-term guests would stay there. Luckily, he came back because he had an appointment with one of them. So he was in the back in his office, and I go to the back of the hotel to grab, like at the end of your shift, you're supposed to like clean everything up. Like I would polish the desk, I would polish the granite, I would clean all my paperwork, and I would dust and sweep and mop and fill the coffee and stuff like that. So I was in that zone. I walked to the back to go get like the cleaning kit, and I see this tall man standing in the glass door knocking. And he was like, "Can you let me in?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Can you let me in?" I was like, "There's a front door." I can like hear him kind of, but I literally point behind me and I'm like, "You can go through the front door. If you don't have a key, how do I know that you're actually staying here?" So I said, "No." And he goes, "I've been shot." And I was like, "Oh, excuse me? What?" And he goes, "I've been shot." And I was like, what? And then I look and I actually see him. I see him finally. Like at first I just like,
like you're not like glaring
I'm like
at their
not
stomach
trying to
or
look at him, and I'm not really fully taking in his position, but he's kind of hunched over and he's holding his side. He like moves his hand and there's blood all over it. And I was like, holy shit. So then I let him in and I walk him to the lobby. And then I have him sit on one of our chairs, and I got my manager, and I had to like sit there while we like called the cops, and they had to do a whole thing.
My gosh.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. That's not even the worst. I have so many stories. It's great.
Oh
we should start doing like one story an episode.
No, we should. But also, if you're listening to this and you've worked in hospitality, food service, anything where you have to deal with like customer service type things, please write in. I'm down to do an episode where we just do a bunch of shorts. Like,
that'd be so
write
fun.
in like your worst customer experience or like the craziest thing you've seen. Yeah,
like maybe someone tipped you like hundreds of dollars for no reason, or maybe you had a celebrity encounter, like good or bad. Customer service stories, please.
Would love to hear. Oh my gosh, amazing.
How fun.
Well, should we jump into
Let's do it.
Turn it up.
Turn it up. This is my favorite segment when you guys send in funny stories. Okay. I'm not going to say the title because it gives it away. So let's dive on in. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
I'm not getting myself into a pickle by putting one of your names in front of the other because, fun fact, I love you both equally.
Aww.
Please keep me anonymous, but you can know my name. I first got into Alicia's videos. Alicia's my sister, for those of you that don't know. Back in the day when I was still working night shifts, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. at the hospital. Oof. That is a tough
12 hours
schedule. From there, I started watching both of your guys' channels. Ashley, you and I are on the same page. 34, hot, sexy, and thriving.
Yes.
And I feel like we have a lot of similarities and enough differences that we would be able to balance each other out. I'm an Enneagram 1 wing 9, so that would make a lot of sense. Taryne, I've said it multiple times, but I feel like you are my spirit animal.
Oh.
You and I have so many life similarities, and I just have to say, girl, is how she wrote it. Patience is a virtue for a reason, and when the time is right and you meet your always and forever, all that time that you spent waiting won't mean a damn thing. I've been happily married for 6 years now after being single for the majority of my life and always being the single friend in the group. Wow.
I needed to hear that.
I feel like that was very, you know us well, because that like hit home on both sides.
That.
So thank you for that.
I will say, just to jump in, I feel like I go through like waves, and I think one of the things, and people, you'll either get this or you won't. One of the reasons why I get hesitant to even like go on dating apps or put myself out there is I'm fine alone. When I start to struggle is when I actually connect with someone, and when a tiny thing inside of me is like, oh my gosh, like, is this something? Like when you start to get excited or you start to have hope that like this person is something, and then it gets like taken out from under you, then that's when I get in this is why I'm fine. Like, I'm fine. Like me, myself, and that.
Don't get my hopes up. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, again, I connected with this guy, and he was like so cute. And the conversation went, I said like, he looked familiar. And he was like, oh, I definitely think I would have remembered your face. And I was like,
this face?
Sir. And then, we went back and forth a couple times, and then he just stopped responding. And it's like, I know it's not personal because I do it too. Like 4 out of 5 of the people I connect with.
It's tough on the apps. That's kind of how it
like,
is.
It's just a thing. Like you ghost, you don't respond. But it's like for just a second, I was excited. And so then today I've just been it's fine. I'll die alone. Yeah. I'm going to pick a sperm donor from a catalog and be happy with me and my child alone. Mm-hmm. And so thank you.
Yeah.
All that to say. I needed that today. I needed it.
They continue. Okay, enough blabbing. I'll finally get on with my tearing it up. This is pretty short and sweet, but I guarantee you'll get a lot of belly laughs. This happened to me a few years ago. My parents live with me, quote, part-time, as I like to say. We are Filipino from the Philippines, and they spend half of their retired life in the Philippines living their best life, and the other half with my husband and me in Oregon. This was during the time of the year when my parents were living with me and my husband in Oregon. As much as I love living with my parents part-time, especially since they get along so well with my husband, sometimes ... personal time, she puts in quotes, is hard when you have your parents in the next room. One morning, I was feeling feisty, if you may, so I decided to watch a little porn and pleasure myself this morning to get me by till my loving husband came home from work. Well, after I was done with that and got ready for the day, my mom asked if I could drive her to the store to run some errands. Always willing to help my parents out, I got up right away and told her absolutely. We got into my car, and to my horror, my Bluetooth hooked up to my car right away. And what do I hear?
Oh, God. This makes me want to die.
The porn video was still on her screen, and she's hearing all of the sounds that come with that. I'm sorry. That's just my worst nightmare. The video was still up on my phone, so my car had hooked up to it and started playing from where I had left it off in the video. I was absolutely dead inside. My mom was already in the car with me talking, and I blacked out and couldn't think to grab my phone first, turn off the speakers, turn off the car, or what to do first. I fumbled along and finally just turned off the entire car speaker and looked at my mom, who was still talking. God bless my sweet, naive, sweet, sweet mother. But everything that just happened in front of her totally flew over her head. I wanted to die of laughter at that time, but played it cool and put the car in drive and proceeded to run errands with my mother. I couldn't help but tell my husband this story as soon as he got home from work, and he was dying from laughter. Lesson learned. Always exit out of all your apps when you are finished. LOL. Love you the mostest, Anonymous.
I'm dead, dude. That's so... I feel like
that
your mom is someone who I could see something happening, but if she was in the middle of a story, she would have known.
Yeah.
Because when she gets going, she's just so
I'm not saying that this is me in any way, but I think I could snort a line of cocaine in front of my mom and she wouldn't fully grasp what I'm doing.
No.
And I love her to pieces, and
She's
I don't
so
do
sweet.
cocaine. But I'm like,
preface.
something that obvious, I feel like if she was in the middle of chatting or talking, I feel like it would kind of just go right over her head.
Or you could be like, oh my gosh, the radio was playing some weird stuff.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God. This baby, I don't know where this baby powder came from. Or my compact just blew up in my face. Something like that. I love
your mom.
I love her too. I love moms. Moms are so sweet.
I love her. Wow, this is so opposite direction. But I texted your mom because it was just Easter. Mm-hmm. And I knew how much she would love this. Yeah. So I just texted her, he is risen.
And she goes, oh, Taryne,
he is risen indeed. I love her. I love Easter, and I love how much joy that brings older people, because that was a thing. You say it and it comes back. And so I just knew, I was like, I'm going to make her day right now.
Oh my God. I can't wait to have kids one day and Easter be a bigger deal, because it's just, when you don't have kids, it's not the same.
Other side. Yeah. I feel like I love going, obviously going to church and the church services and just how beautiful that is. And then I love that is also coupled with the Easter egg hunts and the
getting
family
dressed up and
everyone looks cute. And yeah.
This year I was like, I should have colored eggs or something fun just to make it feel like Easter, because it didn't feel like Easter to me.
Yeah, no, having nieces and nephews, it brings
changes everything.
Just so much magic. And then this Easter too, because Lana's old enough, and Vanessa did different kinds of eggs for each kid. So it was so cute watching them do that thing. I love them. Anyways, sorry. Cute. Continue.
No, I mean, that's the end of the story.
Oof.
It's it's already bad, but it being your mother is just 10 times worse.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. Rough stuff.
That's tough.
All right.
But thanks for sending in. If you have a funny story, embarrassing story, send them in.
Yes,
that's what
please.
they're for. That's what we're here for.
It's what Ashley lives for. I feel especially because you actually die inside when embarrassing moments happen. Whereas me, I love tearing it up for sure, because it's oh my gosh, I'm not alone. I love being able to laugh at yourself and like whatever. But I think you live because of the freedom of like,
It wasn't me.
it wasn't me.
I can read this story and I don't feel anxiety.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like the world's crushing down on me because it didn't happen to me.
It didn't happen to you.
If it happened to me, I don't know if I could
What if
share that story.
every Turn It Up was actually it's just Ashley's diary where it's her therapy where she can like get the story out and then she's like, okay, now
My
it never
mom's sitting here
happened.
going, wait.
Sounds familiar. yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by OneSkin. There's absolutely nothing like the feeling of being confident in your own skin. That is why I have to tell you about today's sponsor, OneSkin. Their products make it easy to keep your skin healthy while looking and feeling your absolute best. No complicated routines, no multi-step protocols, just simple, scientifically validated solutions. The secret is OneSkin's proprietary OS01 peptide. It's the first ingredient proven to switch off the aging cells that cause lines, wrinkles, and thinning skin. And they've got several studies to back it up. I've been using their products for a while now and I am so hooked. But you don't have to just take my word for it. OneSkin has over 4,000 5-star reviews and were recognized by Fast Company as one of the most innovative brands in 2024. For a limited time, you'll get an exclusive 15% off your first OneSkin purchase using code ADVICE, ADVICE, when you check out at oneskin.co. Try OneSkin and enjoy younger, healthier skin without all the extra steps. Treating the symptoms rather than the root cause has become kind of a norm in skincare. Most skincare available on the market is designed to provide a temporary reduction in visible signs of aging, addressing just the surface symptoms of an underlying decline in skin health. And that is why we love OneSkin, because they are not just treating surface symptoms, they are here to treat the underlying problem. Because OneSkin creates next level skincare. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company by focusing on the cellular aspects of aging. OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. So get started today with 15% off using code ADVICE, ADVICE at oneskin.co. That's 15% off at oneskin.co with code ADVICE. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. So please do me a huge favor and support this show and tell them that we sent you.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into our first story. It is titled, Help, Am I the Problem?
Could be.
I'm going to say yes, probably.
Could be.
We're all the problem in our own way. Hello, Taryne and Ashley. My name is... And then if you can bleep that, Michaela. And I absolutely love y'all's podcast. I listen to it all the time and I've learned so much from you guys. For some context, I'm 19 years old and I am a sophomore in college. So where to begin? It all started last semester, specifically beginning of October. I had recently gotten out of a toxic relationship, albeit
Congrats.
it was very short term, but man, did that mess with me. And wasn't really looking to get into a relationship anytime soon. I was still trying to process everything that happened with me and my ex and was very heartbroken at the situation. A few weeks after my ex and I broke up, I met a guy, let's call him Jake, at one of our school's football games. He was friends with one of my guy friends, and we sat next to each other and talked the entire game. Ugh. See, that's a meet cute. That's a like, oh, I go to sit down and my friend's friend sits next to me and then we talk the whole game. And by the end, like, that's annoying.
Yeah. I'm currently reading a book, Say You Swear. And the meet cute was just, I just remember being like, that's not real.
What was it?
It was just cute. Like they met on the beach, like at a bonfire. And I was like,
but that
how?
is real. That is some people's life. Not for me.
Totally. But also
not for me.
Not.
Ashley's like, I had to scour the apps for
I
mine.
had to scroll and scroll and scroll.
Meet up, start over. Meet up, start over.
Yeah.
Hey, but look at you now.
It worked out, but damn. I would have loved to meet him at a bonfire on the beach.
I know. I'm just going to start wandering public places.
I'm going to start saying that's my story. No, I'm just kidding. We love Hinge.
You do. I don't. Okay. That night I saw that he followed me on Instagram. We love a guy that makes the first move.
Assertive.
And the next day I DM'd him to see if he'd want to play pickleball.
Good job.
I know. But see, that's what bothers me. It's a I make a move, you make a move.
Yeah.
Like there will be times like I'll follow a guy and then just nothing will happen. So then I'm like, okay, fine, I'll DM you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, no, if I follow you, now it's your move, sir.
Yeah, it's 50-50.
Yeah. wanted to play pickleball with me, with my sister and I and our other friend, and got his number. After we played pickleball, we started texting a lot and eventually started hanging out a lot and got really close.
Fun.
I was pretty open with him that I had recently gotten out of a relationship, so I wanted to take things slow, but I was loving getting to know him. He was everything I wanted in a guy. Was. Either he died or it didn't end well. He was kind, funny, genuine, and a gentleman, and really cute. Fast forward about 2 weeks after we started hanging out a lot, he asked me to be his girlfriend. And I told him I wanted to go on a few quote unquote official dates before saying yes or no, because I think you learn a lot about a person on a date. We went out on a date and I had a blast. He asked me out on a second date at the end of the night, and of course I said yes. A week or two goes by with us hanging out nearly every day, and the day before we were supposed to go on our second date, he asked me to be his girlfriend. This is when ish went down because for some reason I freaked out.
Oh.
I got a pit in my stomach. Also, mind you, I am a fairly anxious person, and I told him I wanted to go out on a few more dates before making things official. Looking back, I think I used that as an excuse because I was scared and didn't want to get hurt again. He got upset, and long story short, we got into an argument that ended with him saying that he didn't want to continue our relationship. As soon as he said that, my heart dropped. I had so badly wanted to avoid getting hurt again that I self-sabotaged this relationship and still ended up getting hurt. Thanksgiving break rolled by, and I took some time to really reflect on why I had said no. In all honesty, I think I was really scared that I was going to get hurt again, like I had in my previous relationship, and I felt like putting a label on it was putting a lot of pressure on me. After Thanksgiving break, we all went to a football game together. He was there, and one of my friends was giving me advice on the situation. He told me to text him everything I wanted to say to him, and a day later I did. Jake ended up responding and saying that he wasn't ready for a relationship and would love to stay friends, etc., and I respected his decision. It's been months since everything happened, and for some reason, I still find myself dwelling on the situation and Jake. I regret how I handled things, but at the end of the day, I can't go back and I want to move on from the situation. I guess what I'm saying is, how can I move on? Jake was such a genuine and kind person and had checked all my boxes. She said it's giving The One That Got Away by Katy Perry. So it's been hard for me to move on. Do y'all have any advice on how I can stop self-sabotaging when it comes to things like this? So sorry if this was long. Feel free to cut whatever. It wasn't that long. Even if you guys don't read this, it was really nice to get this off my chest. I've attached some photos because I know you guys love photos.
We do.
For the first one, I'm on the right and my twin sister is on the left. All love, Anonymous.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous girls.
Gorgeous girlies. Wow, I just zoomed into your actual soul. Okay. Woof. Okay, you know what I will say? I get where you obviously played a part in this, but I also don't love like how much pressure he put on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it really was only 2 weeks, I think that's a little weird. I think he was unsure and his insecurity was trying to get you to say you were committed to it, so he knew you were really in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a hard time with like, I don't know if it was like his pride was hurt because he had like asked you out twice and you said no, or if he just was like, he has his own damage from the past and was like, I'm not going to keep putting myself out there and just waiting for her to get over it. But I will say, I think you need to give yourself a little bit of grace because I don't think it's that crazy that after 2 weeks, you're telling a guy, hey, like I would love for us to keep spending time together before we make this official.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah. 2 weeks is nothing. I don't blame him for getting his feelings hurt because 2 no's is a little bit like a oof, that's tough.
But also she said, let's go on a few dates. And before the second date, he asked again. So also like, she already told you like her boundary.
Agreed. I think he sounds like he really liked you because he was really trying to like lock it down. I think what probably escalated things. And again, you can't help how you respond to things sometimes, but I'm assuming freaked out meant like really freaked out instead of being like, hey, it could have been a chiller way of saying, hey, remember I said a few dates?
Yeah.
Patience is a virtue. Like you could have said it in a cheerful, flirty way without making it a big deal. If he then responded in a weird way, then I would have freaked out. But my first gut instinct, I feel like, should have been like, wow, he really likes me. Not freak out.
Yeah. Well, and she said it was like in her stomach and anxiety and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. I do think, though, I have a hard time with like when relationships, there's this need for like there's a rush. Because for me, I'm like, if this is genuine, like, this is your person, like, or I mean, in their case, like, this is someone like you're really into and you're ready to commit and be in a serious relationship with. If you're looking at that person and they're like, hey, I just got out of something crazy and like I just need a little more time before we like put that title on it. She said they still are hanging out every day. So it's not like she's not giving you the signs that like she's into you.
Yeah.
And then you, instead of just being like, okay, well, how about this? Like if I were him, I would have been like, okay, fine. But now you have to ask me out. And then I would have just like put it on her and then made it like a cute thing. Or said like, hey, I just want to clarify though that you do see this going in that direction, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that's fine to say. But then she comes back to you and is like, hey, I just want to explain this is what I was feeling. And now he's like, oh, well, I'm not ready for a relationship. Like that to me is like your pride got hurt and now you're being like, you're pouting.
100%.
Right?
He definitely got hurt.
Yeah.
He put himself out there twice and was told no. So I think it's safe to say his feelings are hurt. His pride is hurt. There's no way it isn't. I'd be destroyed.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair to say, like, let's give him a beat.
Yeah.
You know, he clearly liked you a lot. I do think it was weird that he was rushing you, but also like if you guys were friends and like hanging out first, maybe he just knows he really likes you. It's not like meeting someone,
met.
but they had like hung out a couple times.
No, remember she met him, they talked, then they met up for pickleball. And that was what started the 2-week time.
Okay.
So it's like they just met.
Yeah.
It's not like you've been friends for years.
Okay.
Because I would totally agree. Like if it's like you've known each other, you've been friends, then it's like, okay, well, yeah, we just started like talking in that way, but like you know me, like you know what kind of guy I am.
Yeah. Okay. Final answer. I do think he was rushing it a little bit, which is odd, not necessarily a bad thing. I do think I am very curious what the freak out was.
Yeah,
like by freak out, do you mean was there crying? Was there like,
or was this like an
was
internal
this a raised voice situation? Like was this very emotional situation? Because I could see that not only obviously hurting him because that was a big reaction when he was just looking for a yes, but also kind of scaring him. So I like that you wrote him and like shared your thoughts, but what your friend suggested, I think was a good idea. If he is still single and you are still single and you are still thinking about him in this way, then I would hit him up again. I don't think there's anything wrong in being like, hey, like I don't know about you, but I think about our conversation constantly. I still find you really attractive. I still really want to get to know you. I just needed you to slow your boat. If you're still interested, would love to get coffee and catch up. If not, no worries.
Yeah.
I'll see you later. Like you only went out once technically, so it's not like there's a big history there and you're already hanging out all the time. So I don't know, maybe hit him up again and just make it clear to him that you just came out of a weirdly toxic relationship and you think it like really took you for a spin.
Because that's what she did. So how long would you wait before doing that again?
I wouldn't pull a hem and do it like a few weeks later, but it sounds like it's been months, right? Because she said October.
It's been months.
I would hit him up again. It's a new season. Spring has sprung, and I would just start being a little flirty again. If you still like him / are wanting to pursue things.
Yeah.
If not, obviously, but you say you're thinking about him. So I think give it a shot. There's literally nothing you can lose here. It's not like y'all are besties. You're just in a similar friend group.
Yeah.
So like, shoot your shot.
I definitely think, I will say though, I think because he was the first guy after a toxic experience, I think sometimes you cling to those because they feel like
they brought life back into you.
Yeah. It's like that rebound effect, right? Where it's like you feel like awoken again and you're just like, oh my gosh, like this is what I want and it's not like my ex and blah, blah, blah. So I feel like I would definitely move on if I were you. I just don't love how much pressure he put on you and then was like, okay, I'm done. And then even when you're like, okay, hey, here's like my explanation. Like, I would love to try again. He's like, oh, well, I'm not ready now. Like, I just don't love the way he handled it. So if I were you, I would be like, okay, this is like mentally, this is just how I work. I would have to close the book and move on. But would I still over the top flirt? And if he ever did come back and ask me out again, would I be into it? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But I think for me, I would need to mentally, especially if you feel yourself looping on him, I would be like, hey, it didn't work out. It's fine. If that's meant to happen, something will happen. I would continue to be healing yourself, getting back on your feet after your relationship. I would go out with some more guys, get that palate cleansed, get
nothing heals better than going out and talking to more people. I'm not saying like hooking up with every single guy you meet. I'm saying just chat. Like go out dancing with the girls and dance with a guy and have a cute little makeout with someone and then run away with the girls.
And remind yourself who you are and that you're amazing. And if he is able to get back on board and you guys try again, then like awesome, do it. But for me personally, if I were you, I would have to shut. I would be like, okay, he's done, moving my focus to something else. But every time he's around, I would make sure I look super cute and I would flirt with him for sure.
Absolutely.
I'd still be playing pickleball.
Yes.
But then I would just like, I would be like, you know what? I've already told you the way that I feel and that I was ready to try again. You said no. So like, cool. I'll respect that. I'm going to move on with my life. But like, if you circle back, cool. I'll be open to it.
College.
Yeah. It is. Don't you think there's like, which is why 18 to 25, I think, is the roughest time to like have a serious relationship.
No one wants a serious relationship. That's the whole thing. And if you do, you're in a very small circle.
Yes. But the way he's acting is very high school to me because it is like, oh my God, did you know like Chad has a crush on you? Well, and you're like, oh my God, please go tell Chad I have a crush on him. Once it's confirmed, then you're basically married. And then if you date for a month, that's 3 years. Yeah. And so it's like everything is very fast paced and moving and like serious, but it's really not.
Yeah.
And so there is this transitionary time where like, because now I'm telling you, if I met a guy and 2 weeks into us talking, he's like pressuring me to be his girlfriend, I would be like,
red flag.
I'm sorry, what? Like, have you never dated before?
But we're also 30s.
But we're in our 30s. So I think that there's still, you sound like you're someone who takes this very seriously and are also healing from damage. So I think you just aren't on the same page. So.
Yeah, we say it on the podcast all the time. Guys mature so much slower than women. And guess what? You are an excellent example of you being significantly more mature emotionally and him being a child at heart still. So that's nothing on him necessarily. He's a college boy. He is just trying to have fun, not reading into things too seriously. And you saw that as red flag because you're looking for something more serious. So like, exhibit A, men mature slower than women, and especially in the chapter that you're in life.
Yeah, he lost me at you come back and say sorry, and he uses the same reason on you like that.
I'm not ready for a relationship.
That really bothered me. Yeah. So, and that could be me reading into it, but yeah.
No.
Anyway,
I don't think so.
Please update us.
Yes, please do.
We would love to know.
Okay, let's go ahead and get into mine. This one's a good one.
Is it?
I actually really enjoyed this one. We've had a couple emails like this one, so it's just, here we go. This one is titled, Should I Send the Hey Girlie DM?
Hey Girlie. Okay, I'm going to guess It's hey, girly, and hey, girly, just want to let you know that your boyfriend's been talking to me.
Oh, damn, Taryne.
Did I nail it?
That was really spot on. Okay, here we go.
Yes.
Hey, Ash and Taryne. Sorry, Taryne, I love you, but it's just grammatically correct
It's
that
fine.
way. You
It's
are correct.
fine.
You are correct.
It's fine. We'll never be friends, but it's fine. No, I'm just kidding.
Obviously, I have to start off with saying how much this podcast has helped me and how awesome it is to have two internet big sisters who always seem to understand what I'm going through. So here's the story. There's this guy. Let's call him Joe. I worked with him most of last summer and we became good work friends. He'd just moved to the area with his wife and they were both really cool and I enjoyed hanging out with them. The three of us would go to the gym or dinner from time to time, but mostly I would just hang out with this guy at work. We live on opposite sides of the country now. He's home in Washington and I'm in Tennessee. And since he's a work friend, I don't really talk to him anymore. Here's the thing though. He slides up on my Insta stories all the time. I mostly post gym mirror pics where
Wait. I'm so sorry, Ash. In the beginning, what was the connection? So they work together, but he has a girlfriend?
They work together. That's it. That's how they know each other. He's married.
Oh, he's married. Okay,
And the three of them have hung out a lot.
Okay.
During the time that they worked together.
That they worked together. I feel like I ADHD'd
No
out
worries.
for like a second. Okay.
And now he moved to Washington.
Got it.
And she doesn't talk to him anymore.
he's
because
sliding
they were
up.
strictly work friends.
Yep. Let me just tell you, Ash knows I have a lot of experience in this this area.
You wrote into the right podcast. Okay, here we go. I mostly post gym mirror pics where I'm wearing the typical TikTok gym girly spandex and sports bra, and I'm flexed up in the photos or showing off my ass because I work hard at the gym and I'm really proud of the progress, which is why I post these selfies. Anyways, he's been sliding up in the past few months and I rarely respond. Like, I'll just drop a like to the comments, but it's definitely a one-sided conversation. Some examples of what he's saying are, I posted a before and after of my abs and he said, "Great job. Now you're too skinny, but the gains are great." That was weird. I posted a story where I was saying that I was hoping to move back home, which is back where he lives. And he slid up with, "I hope so!" exclamation point. I posted that I was coming to visit my boyfriend who still lives in Washington. And he slid up and said, "Can't wait!" exclamation point. Like he wanted to see me? He slid up on a story where I posted that I'd gotten my blonde touched up and said, "Haha, blondest person I know." Okay. This trend goes on where he swipes up on pretty much everything I post with some comment and I never respond because we're not even really friends. No reason for us to be talking, and that's how I see it. The other day, I posted a really flexed up mirror selfie. I was looking shredded, if I do say so myself. Haha. He slid up and said, "Whoa, look at you getting all tight. Keep it up."
The way that you read Joe is I'm picturing him as the manager at the restaurant I worked at. So a white old man
to
who's
a T,
just
what I was picturing. Someone,
keep it up.
I'm picturing people that I've worked with, and just that's how I read their comments because I don't think of them as
Yeah.
potential dating. You know,
No,
they're just in a different pool, so it's always you know.
I'm gonna keep my comments
Okay,
to myself right now. No. Go ahead.
Now, if my boyfriend was constantly sliding up on a girl's story, especially her gym ones, and commenting on her body, I would be pissed. Joe has a wife who I know and have hung out with, but don't keep in touch with. Is what Joe is doing weird enough to warrant a "Hey Girlie" DM? For context, last year, a mutual friend of mine who was in a relationship with a girl I also knew would slide up on my stories and start convos with me that I didn't think anything of. But the second they broke up, he started sending dick pics. And when I reached out to his ex, I also showed her the DMs from when they were together. She said those DMs were definitely sketchy and she'd wish that I had sent them to her earlier.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Nobody ever wants that.
No.
Totally. Can I say something?
Totally.
Every time every time I feel personally attacked.
Yes.
I feel violated.
Mm-hmm.
I've cracked my phone from throwing it.
Yeah.
Nobody ever wants it. The fact that no one ever asks you for it, that's why it's always an unsolicited one.
But aren't those the people that send them?
That's what I'm saying,
unwarrantedly?
Nobody asks for it.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Unless someone said, send me one.
Has anyone ever
You
asked
shouldn't
you
be
for
sending
one?
them.
No.
Yeah.
And when I am in a freaking meeting and I open my phone thinking it's like a funny meme and that's what I get.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, there's no faster way for me to block you and never speak to you again.
Yes.
And the way that there's also no buildup. It's like, hi, where's your grandma from? The answer's Arkansas, not that.
So back to the grandma.
Like, what? Like, I just will never understand, like, what the,
Yes.
Yeah.
So to recap, the girl, after showing this girl dick pics, said that she wished that she had been told prior to his weird commenting way before the dick pics ever happened.
Yeah, but see, again, I'm going to hold it. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
She continues, so now, because of what she said about wanting those to have known about the DMs earlier, I am on high alert. What should I do? Any advice would be appreciated. I'll include a picture of my typical Insta story post for you guys to get a better picture. Here's a photo of her looking shredded.
It makes sense.
But
you're
also,
hot.
But also, this isn't thoughty. Like,
let me just say,
the
way the male brain works.
I hear you. I'm just saying.
If you have anything tight on, / you're showing above your knee, your belly, or anything where it's not a turtleneck, that is an invitation to some men for
just letting our audience know.
No, like she's very cute.
Being like, here's all,
no, it's
here's
just
all of me.
a gym.
It's just showing off her really strong looking legs and toned abs.
Congratulations.
Looking
I'll never know.
Looking great. This is hard. Because this is one of those situations where you never, especially because he's married, you don't want to cause drama if there isn't drama. However, I think it's not okay what he's doing.
I'm very triggered.
I am totally fine with I'm totally fine. I think it's fine. If my boyfriend were to check in on friends and chat with them, that's fine. But they better be, they're friends. But friends.
Okay, even friends, a picture like that, that's what he's responding to?
No. So, let me finish my sentence.
Sorry.
If he was responding to someone on gym pics, bikini pics, any tight dress pic, that's a red flag. And if he's commenting repeatedly, that's with no second red flag, especially if the girl's not commenting back. That's obviously he's fixated on you, in my opinion. And I think that's enough to be like, hey, girlie, I think you might want to know this. And I wouldn't expect, open arms. I might expect her to be mad. She might not even talk to you, but I would want to know. I would want to know. And I think there's enough there.
Okay.
Those are my thoughts. Taryne, your turn.
Here is the thing, because I don't know what I did.
I know.
In a previous life. I don't believe in that, but if you have a previous life, apparently I did something terrible because I attract these situations so much. I get very triggered by them because of the fact that all of the awkwardness and the what do I do now is put on the innocent person who did not ask for that. And what's gross about these men is they are so manipulative or intentional, tricky. I don't know the word for it, about what exactly they say, so that because they're trying to toe that line, if this ever were to get out, if my wife ever found my DMs, if whatever, I can play what? I was just congratulating her on this, or I was just saying like, oh, it's good for you to be here. Or, look, I commented on something she put about her and her boyfriend. Why would I do that if I was like interested? And that is what bothers me so much, because you are left at this thing where, is it going to sound like I'm just full of myself if I come out and I like tell the wife like, hey, your husband keeps DMing me? Mm-hmm. Or like, I feel like for me, what I do is I
block them.
Don't respond at all. And then if I still feel uncomfortable, it's like, I'm not opening your messages. Like, and if it still is like repeated and it's getting to a point where you're like, this is ridiculous, he obviously is not your friend. So I would either like unfollow or block or whatever. And then if he continues to reach out, that's probably the point where I would reach out, because it sounds like you've hung out with his wife a couple times, but you're not like friends. Whereas the other girl, she was your actual friend. So it makes sense why she's like, why wouldn't you tell me this?
Yeah.
I think it totally is up to you. If you feel the need to do that, I don't know. Like it will be interesting, because it doesn't sound like you've ever said anything to him like, hey, like, I think this is kind of like inappropriate when you say things like this. Not that that's your job to do it, but he could be like, oh, well, she always likes it. Or, you know what I mean? Like, she's never said anything. Like, I didn't think it was weird. But I don't know. These situations bother me so much, because it's true. Like, that's the last thing. Like, when I'm in a relationship, if I'm watching my guy friend stories, the only reason I would ever swipe up and say something is if it was like very specific, like, oh, it's you saying it's your birthday, or you posted something about Star Wars. So I'm like, yeah, like whatever. Yeah. But I feel like it's so inappropriate if a guy's in a relationship, if he's swiping up a fire emoji on your like picture, or he's nonstop saying messages to you, but you're not responding. Like, I think it's weird.
I think it's super weird. And I think that's an excellent plan of attack. I've gone through some similar situations before, and Taryne has helped me through those situations also. And you guys already know me. I hate confrontation. I didn't know how to handle it. So I would just be like, thanks, thumbs up. Or I would always say super polite, very like simple one-worded responses. And then Taryne was like, obviously he's not getting the hint. Just stop responding. So then I would stop responding. It would continue. And then inevitably what I ended up doing is, if we were talking about Insta, then it would go towards like, I would put them in the like, what's the general? Yeah. I was like, there's a folder. I'd put them in the general folder. And if if they're still at the top of that folder, whenever I tap to open it, then it's time to block.
Yeah.
And then if for some reason they reach out to you elsewhere, that's a great way to be like, hey, honey, get your boy under control, I guess it's really hard, because it depends on the level of friendship that you have with this person and how long you guys are friends and how many times y'all hung out. Like,
but I think that's a good point, and that's what I've done, and that's what I've told you to do.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, if I say there's this like man who's making me feel like, oh, like, why is he messaging me like that? I try to look at another person in my life that's a similar like relation that I'm closer with.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, are they acting like this?
Yes.
No. If they message me this much, would I feel uncomfortable about it?
Yeah.
Like, and if I look at that other person and I'm like, okay, this person who I actually have a close relationship with does not ever make me feel that way, does not ever reach out to me to that extent. And I would be like, that's weird if they did.
Yeah.
If it's not fluid, like you can't zoom out and be like, oh, well, I guess like my other work friend does respond to all my stories too. It's not weird.
Yeah.
Like, if you zoom out and this person is standing out, then I feel like you have every right to be like, this is weird. This is uncomfortable. And I think women especially, we put up with so much and we let ourselves be uncomfortable for so long because we don't want to rock the boat. Like, we don't want to be rude. Like, maybe he's just being nice. And I think if someone makes you uncomfortable, it's okay to be rude and to like block them, or to say like, hey, like, I don't think it's appropriate that you reach out. I'm sure you're being nice, but if I was If I was married, I would be uncomfortable with my husband reaching out in the way that you have, or just block and move on with your life. You don't owe him anything.
Yeah. I also think that's a great tip with the person, their age and gender, of being like, that's a friend of yours, of being like, hey, is this normal? Because sometimes you just need another perspective that's in their lane. And I post tons of gym stories. And if any of my guy friends responded, I'd be like, what the because that doesn't happen. Like, they don't. There's a thing, and it's an unspoken thing, but like all of my girlfriends, guys, there's a neutral zone of like safe stuff that you can talk about, and it's never a gym selfie. It's never you in a bikini. It's never you in a dress. And I would also never respond to like them doing like gym stuff or like them in like trunks at the beach. Like, I wouldn't, because that's not neutral territory.
You have to be doing like a double backflip off of the bench.
You have to be doing something super dumb and funny, or like super cool to warrant a response. You know, and that's just the rules. So
I guarantee you're not the only person too.
You're not.
That's the thing. Like, this guy sounds like he's just like.
I feel bad for his wife. I'm like, there's no way you're the only one. If he's doing this and he doesn't read the social cues of the no response or just the thumbs up, then he's doing it to multiple people. So I think our plan is great. I think stop responding, because you have been responding. Even the thumbs up, let's not do it.
Don't even open.
If he continues, general. If he's still at the top of that general file, block. And then if he somehow worms his way back in, tell her.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way of being like, he's crossed the line so many times and he's back after blocking him.
Think about it this way. You can get a restraining order if someone texts you like a certain amount of times without you responding over a period of time. Mm-hmm. That's technically like harassment and like cyber stalking or whatever. Mm-hmm. You can get a restraining order for something like that. So that, like, if this man is messaging you nonstop with no response, no encouragement, you're not even like opening it, like, that should show you like that's a level of crazy. Yeah. So don't feel bad for being like, I'm done. You have no access to me anymore.
Yeah. There was a guy at church, and he had a weird thing, and he would always want to talk to me, and I would always be super polite as my non-confrontational self, and he seemed nice. And then over just like weird periods of times, he always wanted to hug, and like we would chat, and he always wanted to talk about drums, and I'd always be like, this is weird. I don't know what to do. And then one day he gave me like a birthday present. It was like $100.
Yeah.
And I ended up telling my worship pastor. He told him they had this whole thing, because I was like, I'm not dealing with this. No. And I let him deal with it.
Yeah.
And then he still would like, I would see him like hiding kind of, and he'd be like, hey, Ashley. And I had to ignore him. And it was hard because it was in person. It's not like a DM where you can just block him. You know, it's hard for me to be mean, but I had to like,
that's
look
where
away.
I came in.
I had to turn my body. I had to like walk away from him. And it was like, I had to be so intentional about it. And I think it's harder in person, but sometimes it's more obvious. It's easier and obvious for them in person. Over DMs, it's gray.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to, I think it's weird, because sometimes you have to be a little bit bolder on DMs, because things can be misinterpreted through text. Whereas like someone turning away from you and walking away is very obvious. Like, you have to be like really out of it to not pick up on that.
I'll never understand, like, because there's been times like people will start ignoring me or like not like making it very clear they don't want to interact with me. Mm-hmm. And I am the type of person that gets fazed by that, because I'm like, wait, what did I do? Like, I want to like, no, I want to fix it. But I feel like, especially like as a man, if you can sense that a girl is uncomfortable by you, but you keep pursuing and pushing yourself on her, I think that is so disrespectful and rude. And it just really bothers me, because it just puts us in this weird position where we have to like go out of our way to avoid you. And we know that if we were to ever say something, how easily you would play off like, oh my gosh, I'm just being nice. Like, we go to the same church. Like, we go to the same this. Like, I'm just being nice. Yeah. And it's just like, it's so gross to me, because women are so good at reading through that and picking up on things in our gut. And so we know exactly what you're doing. And the fact that you try to play it off as like this innocent thing, makes me want to just.
Oh, it's so frustrating. I love that you wrote in about this because this is something we all need to be like better at being more aware of. I would ask if you know a guy friend around his age, whatever, ask your other girlfriends, get their input. But I really like our plan of attack. And I think that'll work really well for you if he somehow worms his way back in.
You know, you can block people just from stories.
True. That is true.
You can go and you can silence your story for specific people.
An even more non-confrontational way to do it.
Yeah. And then if he has no access, because right now it's the easy, like, oh, I was just scrolling through stories. And so I just like responded. So if he's going out of his way to either message you and be like, did you block me on stories or to just DM you random times, I feel like that shows like an escalation.
It does show more of an intent.
Yeah.
If he's actually having to type your name in to send you a message.
Absolutely.
Oof, that's a whole other level. But thank you so much for writing in. Good luck to you. And that's my story for today.
So good. Like always, we just want to say thank you to everyone who listens to this podcast and supports us by sending in stories or just listening. If you have a second, if you can do all the things, Ash, what can they do?
If y'all could just give us some 5 stars, rate, review, subscribe, send it to a friend, send it to a family member. Taryne and I would just greatly appreciate that.
Yes,
if you have
really
a story that you're sitting on, please send it in. And do you want to wrap it up with a dad joke, Taryne?
I would love to. Okay, Ash, why did the math book look so sad?
Oh, because he didn't know his times tables.
Close.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Because of all its problems.
Oh, that's so good.
I know.
That's a good one.
We hate math.
I hate math.
Yeah.
Screw math. Guys.
But we're street smart. I am at least.
Thanks. If you made it to the dad joke and the dig at Ashley, you already know the drill. We love you the mostest. Be sure to send us a story if you have one. Check out our premium subscription service. We can get more bonus content of Taryne and I. And we'll talk to you soon.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.